What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Chiefs Zone podcast. My name is Farzin Vasugian. Happy Tuesday to all of you. We normally don't do a Tuesday podcast, but scheduling calls for some audible this week, but we are here nonetheless. It's going to be a little bit of an earlier preview of the Chiefs and Colts game, earlier than we usually would like to do. But again, there's been a lot going on in my schedule, and therefore we have to do this on a Tuesday night rather than a Wednesday. Not going to be a very long podcast, so we'll talk some Chiefs, a little bit of NFL as well, as I did want to address a couple of things that are going on outside of Kansas City. Some interesting stories out there nonetheless. It seems like we've got a little bit of a trend when it comes to player behavior on the field. So we'll touch on that. And, of course, break down the game between the Chiefs and the Colts here. If you guys want to be part of the show, please comment below. Quick heads up, there will not be a podcast tomorrow. There will not be a Red Friday live chat this Red Friday, a Red Friday Q&A live chat. As far as the game day goes, there will be a live stream of some sort, probably mostly just on Facebook than anything else. For pregame and for halftime. Postgame, we will have a live stream for all of the social media channels that we usually do. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that because this will be a little bit of a different game because I'll be on vacation. So I got to figure out how I'm even going to be able to live stream or any of that stuff. There will still be a post-game podcast. Might not be right away, so bear with me a little bit on the timing there, but we'll still have one nonetheless. Jagger says, not Chiefs related, but let's go Rangers. You're talking New York Rangers? Get out of here with that. Speaking of... I see. I almost confused that for Texas Rangers, but why would someone say that on November the 18th? It's got to be New York Rangers. So, before we get any further, I want to let you know this podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. That's where I go for all of my sports ticketing needs, concerts, whatever it is you want to attend. SeatGeek is the place to go. And if you guys want to attend the Chiefs and Colts game at Arrowhead this Sunday, or any other Chiefs game, any other NFL action, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, you can go to SeatGeek and get your tickets there. And if you're a new SeatGeek customer, you can use my promo code FARZIN and save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com, pick your tickets at checkout. New customers can enter my promo code FARZIN, save $20 off your first order from SeatGeek. All right. How are we feeling? How are you guys doing? Casey Bandit, Bob, Terry, Teresa, I see all of you guys. Many more of you. How are you guys feeling tonight? Yeah, I'm aware, Jager. This is not a good season for the Knights. This is not. So I would prefer we avoid that discussion. I mean, listen, the Chiefs are already having a little bit of a rough go at it right now. So my sports teams aren't doing too hot right now. Remember a couple of years ago when my favorite teams won? The Jayhawks, and then a year later, the Chiefs and the Golden Knights, and now all three of them are not doing too hot right now. Not one bit. Look, I've always believed that immediate reaction to certain games, being a prisoner of the moment, that can always steal a lot of thoughts. So the way I view it right now, I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs because I was doing some research preparing for tonight's podcast, basically getting an understanding of the Colts, looking at some of their game film and whatnot. And I'm just looking around. The Chiefs, still a good football team. Now at 5-5, that doesn't really indicate that. But I'm looking at some of the things that Kansas City's doing, offensively speaking. They've got the fifth best pass offense in the NFL. Now, it's been a little out of sync lately, but they're still one of the top teams in the league. They're still a top 10 scoring team. Just got to get back into the swing of things and be better about it. And listen, you're going to play a Colts team not as good defensively, very good offensively. And I know a lot of people like to knock on the Colts and say, well, they haven't played anyone good. Okay, if you're a Chiefs fan and you've been saying that, you better hope Kansas City is firing on all cylinders. And hey, you know what the crazy part is? Denver, oddly enough, is going to be rooting for Kansas City in this one because this will help them create a bit of a gap between themselves and the Colts when it comes to the standings. The Colts, by the way, coming off a bye week, so we'll see if they can use that to their advantage coming into this game. A couple of you guys are concerned. Andy Reid said the season's not over. Yeah, of course not. But they've got to play much better than they have lately. Got to play much better. We'll get into the Chiefs and the Colts more. I do want to touch on some non-NFL stuff real quickly before we get into the game breakdown. So on Sunday, between the Bengals and the Steelers, Jalen Ramsey and Jamar Chase were going at it. And at one point, Jalen Ramsey was taking off Jamar Chase's helmet and was trying to fight him, even when officials, teammates, when they were all trying to get in between. He really wanted to fight Jamar Chase. And I thought, man, Jalen Ramsey's a knucklehead. Well, fast forward to an hour or two later, a photographer from a local Cincinnati station, which, by the way, he is getting a lot of shit from Bengals fans because Bengals fans don't want this stuff out there publicly from objective journalists. That's funny. It's always funny how Bengals fans want to have everything go their way. You don't always get it your way. And footage came out that, first of all, Jalen Ramsey made a claim that Jamar Chase spit on him. Jamar Chase denied it. Well, footage showed that Jamar Chase did indeed spit on Jalen Ramsey. Now, listen, I know there are a lot of opinions out there about Jalen Ramsey. Spitting on someone, I mean, that is just low character clown behavior right there. So, by the way, what is it with Jamar Chase always getting into it with somebody? Like, you're the common denominator. It's not everyone else is the problem. No, it is a you problem. That's what that is. And then on Monday, and I always love when players do this, Jamar Chase, when the media was in the locker room, refused to talk to the media. Oh, boy. Well, he's been suspended. He appealed the suspension. It ended up being one game. I kind of wondered if it would be 2 games because Jalen Ramsey did get ejected. I think, if you have a brain and you can see what happened, you'll know that Jalen Ramsey didn't just take off his helmet for no reason. I mean, you literally had someone just spit on you. That's why he reacted the way he did. So he got kicked out of the game because of that. And I guess none of the CBS cameras caught that. It ended up being a photographer with a local station who is not on any kind of a live broadcast. He did not have the capability to put it out there immediately. He had to wait until after the game so he could get to a computer and do all of those things. Yeah, his appeal was denied. I wondered if it would be 2 games, 1 for his action and 2 to make up for Ramsey getting kicked out when he, in my opinion, honestly should not have. Should he have been penalized for that? Yeah, sure. But that should have been on Cincinnati. And for the officials to miss that, and I get it, officials can't see everything, especially with the action that's going on in between plays. They try to get between that stuff as fast as they can. Brody says if someone spits on a player, they should be suspended for the rest of the season. I think that might be a little much. I was surprised with Jalen Carter when he did it. That was like the craziest opening to a season ever because it happened right after the opening kickoff to the season. I thought it was going to be at least multiple games. League said, no, we're just going to make it 1 game. And that ended up being his suspension because he did not play a snap for that game, which I thought was kind of my theory is if you warm up with the team and you're on the active roster, that should not matter, but that's not my place to call, to make those decisions. But what is it with players doing that? Here's my biggest criticism on all of this. If the CBS or Fox, ESPN, NBC cameras, if they don't catch it, somebody else will. People always have their phones out in the stands. There are a lot of photographers and cameramen who are, with local newspapers, local TV stations, even some radio stations out there have photographers or cameramen because they want video content for their social media. Like there are listen, you guys see it from home. You see the stripes on the sidelines. That's the line where camera operators have to stand. Media members basically have to stand behind. They cannot be in front of that to give players room if they go out of bounds. Well, sometimes they crash into photographers, but that's a whole different story. I mean, those people are everywhere. If you've ever been to an NFL game, especially if you're sitting in the nosebleeds, you get a good view of this. You can see all the camera operators surround, basically, from the opposing 25-yard line to the other side of the 25-yard line. That is reserved for the coaches and the players. But anything outside of that, behind the end zone, you see a bunch of cameramen, photographers there. The fact that didn't go through Jamar Chase's head when he did that, it's like, dude, what did you expect? And then you go publicly, you're like, no, I didn't spit on him. No, less than 24 hours later, you start denying the media because you don't want to face the truth and basically swallow your own pride, no pun intended, on what you did there. So that's just silliness. Speaking of silliness, one of the most popular draft selections this year, Cam Skattebo, over with the New York Giants. Obviously, he has a season-ending injury due to a lower leg injury, so he is out for the season. But he's been a lot of fun to watch this year when he's been on the field. Was a lot of fun to watch last year with ASU. So a lot of people were hoping that he would get drafted to their favorite team. I was hoping that he would come to Kansas City, to be honest. Ended up going to the New York Giants. Now, if you've seen some of the footage, Cam Skattebo is like, and I apologize, I don't know the term for this. He's on one of those weird, like, medical scooters where you're resting your knee on top of that so your leg doesn't have to touch the ground. Instead of crutches, he was using that. That's what he's been using to get around, at least for the most recent Giants game. That's what we saw. Cam Skattebo was sitting front row with some of his Giants teammates for WWE Raw at Madison Square Garden. Funny enough, there were actually a couple of Eagles players as well as security guard Dom there as well. They got a lot of boos for that, understandably so. But Cam Skattebo was there, and he was involved in a little bit of a segment, a skit, a segment, whatever it's called in WWE. I don't know exactly the term there. So if you guys don't know, there's a group in WWE called the Judgment Day. It includes Dominic Mysterio, who is the son of Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. So Dominic Mysterio went up to Cam Skattebo. They got a little bit of a shoving contest, and then the other members of the New York Giants, they got in there as well, shoving and whatnot. Listen, obviously it's scripted, it's fake. But these WWE superstars, they do suffer injuries in the ring. It's happened. I know a lot of people think, oh, professional wrestling, it's just a fake punch. No, there's way more to it than just a fake punch. Sometimes you get accidentally hit somewhere when you're not supposed to get hit. That happens in pro wrestling. Cam Skattebo is literally injured. And he's involved in a little bit of a physical altercation at a WWE event for a segment. That can't be allowed. There are very strict policies and rules in place for Patrick Mahomes as to what he can and cannot do. Patrick Mahomes got in trouble for playing pickup basketball at a local gym in Kansas City. And when he was on WWE Raw last year, if you guys remember that, with Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, he was involved in a segment with Logan Paul, the Judgment Day, funny enough, who were also involved with Cam Skattebo. The big guy, I can't remember his name, but the dude who just runs people over, Braun Strowman, that's who it is. So Braun Strowman and Patrick Mahomes got face-to-face at one point. Didn't touch each other, though, because there are strict rules that I'm sure in Patrick Mahomes' contract, he can't be involved in any kind of a physical altercation in these kinds of things, even if it's scripted. So, and listen, I don't know what's in Cam Skattebo's contract. He's not a first-round quarterback that was taken, obviously. He's a running back taken in the later rounds. But if you're injured, that has to be a very serious concern from the New York Giants. Like, wait a minute. You're injured. You've got this leg injury, and you're taking part in a physical segment with WWE? That did not make any sense. Listen, if he was going to be involved with WWE in some way, fine, but you can't be involved in any kind of a physical altercation, especially when you're injured. I'd be very curious to know if the NFL comes down with a fine on this. Because I know I am telling you for a fact, the Giants are not happy that this happened. You can't be doing this kind of thing when you're not available to play. So we'll see if the NFL is going to have any say on this, given what just happened. Sanders asking what's going on with the Aaron Rodgers wrist injury. It's not, I read a headline, he's not going to need surgery, but his status for this week's game against Chicago is uncertain. So we don't know exactly the severity in terms of when he'll return. You know what's crazy? You mentioned Aaron Rodgers over in the AFC North. Joe Burrow is expected to come back next week for Thanksgiving. Obviously, the Chiefs are also going to play on Thanksgiving, but the Bengals do have that night game. Now, what's the Bengals record? 3-7. It's nothing too good right now. I mean, they're obviously, you know, Kansas City and Houston, Baltimore, those teams are all ahead of the Bengals right now. But if the Chargers fall apart like I think they will because they don't have an offensive line, if the Jaguars, if their inconsistencies catch up to them, if Houston also continues with its inconsistencies, Kansas City, let's be honest, they've been inconsistent as well. That might open up the door for the Bengals to come back into this thing, depending how Joe Burrow looks coming back. It sounds like Joe Burrow is ahead of schedule, but I am going to say this, and I've said this before, you've got to be concerned for the long-term health of Joe Burrow. It's a good thing they have Joe Flacco, because I think for the limited, and I know Trent Green said this on the game broadcast this week, for the limited amount of time Joe Flacco's been with the Bengals, he's done a really good job picking up that offense. And maybe it helps that you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Yoshi Voss, Noah Fant. I mean, all of those key players there. I know Chase is not going to play this week, but it really does help having those guys. Still, for a quarterback midseason to join a new team and take over right away, learning the language, learning the offense that fast, you got a chance. You just got to hope the defense can get you a couple stops here and there, because the Bengals have had no issues scoring. It's not like last year, obviously, but they're capable of winning football games if the defense plays just average. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to take a quick time out and give a shout out to our newest sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. And when we go live, just place a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook app in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we officially go live in Missouri, you'll be betting on the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live on December 1st, in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
We're going to take a quick time. All right, we're back here on the Chiefs Zone podcast. Appreciate you guys joining me tonight. It is a Tuesday, earlier than we usually do our game breakdowns here, but it is what it is. Have to adjust with the schedule this week, so I appreciate you guys adjusting as well with me while you're watching KU or whatever else is going on in the sports world, or anything that's on TV, where you're choosing to watch me alongside whatever it is you're doing for your Tuesday night. All right, let's get into it. Chiefs and the Colts, they will be playing on CBS, one of the very rare 12 o'clock kickoff games for Kansas City. The only other one was against the Raiders this year, if I'm not mistaken. And the Chiefs have a couple of those. I think one or maybe two more of those left this season. Like I said, on CBS, everyone's two favorite announcers, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, listen, I got to address this because I know Nance and Romo, they're going to be doing what, 4 straight Chiefs games? They did the Bills game. Obviously, the Chiefs want to buy. Then they did this past Sunday's game against Denver. Then this game against the Colts. And then they're going to do the Thanksgiving game against Dallas. So for 4 straight games, you're getting Jim Nance and Tony Romo. And Chiefs fans aren't too thrilled about that. Can I just ask, why do people hate Tony Romo? Because this guy, listen, I think fans in general complain way too much about sports announcers. But for Chiefs fans, listen, the criticism Tony Romo gets from the 31 other fan bases is that he glazes Patrick Mahomes, which is such a stupid word, but that's a word people use these days. So I'm always, listen, sports fans always hear the negative things from announcers about their team, that is. They'll hear announcers say positive things about the other teams, but they never hear the positive things said about their team. I always find that very interesting. Listen, is Tony Romo annoying? Yeah, he is. But he's smart. He's very intelligent. I don't agree with every single thing he says. He's also entertaining. Maybe in a funny way, maybe in a way that you just don't like it, but his style is entertaining and it has people talking. I mean, listen, do you not see the bingo cards that we put out there and some of the things that Tony Romo checks off? By the way, we were close to having 3 bingos on our bingo card this week. Very, very close, but we're still waiting on that first bingo of the season. I'll have that out for you guys later in the week. But for right now, Jim Nance, Tony Romo, those are the announcers. The referee for this one, this was just announced an hour ago. It is going to be Alex Moore. If you've never heard of him, yeah, no problem. I've never heard of him either. This is his first year as a head referee, so this is going to be his first ever Chiefs game as the head official. He's done Chiefs games before, but worked in different positions. This is going to be his first time as the head official for a Chiefs game. The Chiefs are favored in this game. We've talked about this already. 3.5-point betting favorites, minus 180 on the money line, plus 150 for the Colts. And the over-under for this one is at 49.5. All right. Obviously, there will not be an injury report for this podcast because we're doing it earlier in the week, but I would anticipate the only player you'll see maybe not practice is probably Isaiah Pacheco. I know Kingsley Suamataia. That is a concern as well because he is in the concussion protocol as far as we know. And there's a chance that Mike Caliendo will practice in his spot. And if Suamataia is not available for Sunday's game, then it's going to be Mike Caliendo who starts at left guard in between rookie Josh Simmons and center Creed Humphrey. All right, the head coach, Shane Steichen, former Eagles offensive coordinator, also the Chargers offensive coordinator in 2020. He's actually been with the Chargers from 2014. Was with the Chargers, I should say, 2014 to 2020. So he's got a lot of familiarity with how Andy Reid runs things and some familiarity with Spags as well for a couple of years. And in the Super Bowl, when the Chiefs won Super Bowl 57 against the Eagles, Shane Steichen, that was his last game as the offensive coordinator of the Eagles. I remember Steichen, I think it was going to be between Steichen and Eric Bieniemy for the head coaching job. And right now, Shane Steichen certainly proving that he is the man for the job and doing a great job this year. Look, I know a lot of people will say Mike Vrabel. I don't think Mike Vrabel being a coach of the year is a bad thing. I think he certainly deserves it. But I'm also in the camp that what the Patriots are doing, not too surprising compared to the Colts. I knew the Patriots were going to be a playoff team. That I think they'd win the AFC East, or at least right now be leading it. Absolutely not. So I think Mike Vrabel's name deserves to be in the coach of the year conversation. I will say, if I had a vote right now, I'd give it to Shane Steichen just over Mike Vrabel. So the coach of the year conversation should be between Shane Steichen and Mike Vrabel if they continue to go at the path both teams are going at right now. Shane Steichen, also, by the way, former UNLV QB, started coaching in 2007 and joined the NFL ranks in 2014 with the Chargers, like I mentioned. The offensive coordinator, I had no idea who the OC was for the Colts until today. Jim Bob freaking Cooter. Jim Bob Cooter. Yes, the same Jim Bob Cooter who was the offensive quality control coach in 2012 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, he's also coached in Denver, Detroit with the Jets, was with the Eagles in 2021 as a consultant, hence the connection there between himself and Steichen, and was the Jaguars pass game coordinator in 2022, and he joined Steichen in Indy when he took that job in 2023. Very good offense. They are top 10 in every key category. Number one in total offense, averaging almost 400 yards a game. Third in rushing, third in passing, number one in scoring, 32.1 points per game. They've got the eighth best conversion rate on third down and the second best conversion rate on fourth down. They're converting almost 42% of the time on third down. Fourth down, they're converting almost 81% of the time. Red zone, also very good. Third in that category, hitting a touchdown 68% of their red zone trips. And obviously, the big guy on that offense is Jonathan Taylor, leading the league in rushing yards with more than 1,100 yards. The only 1,000-yard rusher right now in the NFL going into Week 12. He's also leading the NFL in yards per carry at 6 exactly, 15 touchdowns, and 58 first down runs. So Jonathan Taylor having himself a hell of a year after a little bit of a quiet, couple seasons, a year and a half essentially. But now he is on top of the world as the best running back in the league. You look at what he's done in some recent games. The game he had, and for whatever reason, I don't have that in front of me. Thought I had that written down, but I don't. The game he had against the Atlanta Falcons in Berlin, absolutely dominated that game, running for more than 200 yards. And that one, bear with me, I'm pulling that up right now. Yeah, 244 yards. That's only rushing. He had 32 carries in this one, which is insane. So he was the workhorse in this game. But not only that, he was also very active in the through the air. He had 286 yards of total offense against the Falcons. And obviously he came away with the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Falcons got the ball first, punted away, but the Colts said, no, we're still going to go and punch this into the end zone. That's exactly what Jonathan Taylor did, getting his third score of the game. And boy, for him to have almost 290 yards of total offense, that's pretty damn good. When you look at what he's been doing through the year, he's averaging 25 yards 25 receiving yards every game. So not only is Jonathan Taylor the best running back on the ground, he's also very active through the air. So he's definitely been the workhorse for that offense. Daniel Jones has really stepped up. This is by far his best season, no question about it. Things didn't work out in New York with the Giants. Coming into Indy this year, he is third in the NFL in passing yards at 2,600, more than 2,600 yards. Mahomes is fourth, so right behind him, 15 touchdowns, 7 picks on the year, and he's got almost a 70% completion percentage. That's fourth best in the NFL. When you look at who he has to work with, outside of Jonathan Taylor, of course, he's got rookie tight end Tyler Warren, who was taken 4 picks ahead of Colson Loveland by the Saints. That was a surprise to a lot of everyone, really. But man, Tyler Warren, his numbers are merely similar to Travis Kelce's this year. 50 catches, 517 yards, 3 touchdowns, also has a rushing score on the season. He's got the most receptions of 20 yards or more among tight ends this year with 10 of those. So he's having a phenomenal rookie season, and I don't think he'll win it, obviously, but he should be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He definitely is going to make the all-rookie team. I know the AP doesn't do that, but websites like Pro Football Writers of America, some other media outlets, they'll definitely have him on the all-rookie team, and rightfully so. PFF, that's just how damn good he's been this season. Michael Pittman Jr. leads the team with 54 catches, 580 yards, 6 touchdowns. Alex Pierce having a really good season as well, 585 yards for him, off just 28 catches. This guy's averaging 21 yards a reception. And out of everyone that's in the top 100 in the NFL in receiving yards, that's the second best for Alex Pierce. 21 yards per catch. Only one player ahead of him. You know who that is? Tyquan Thornton. and he's barely getting used. That's a topic for another time. We've already exhausted that conversation. He had 4 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown against the Falcons in that overtime game. Josh Downs, another part of their wide receiver room. He's got 3 touchdown scores on the season. The offensive line for the Colts, the left side of the offensive line, that is where they've got the strengths there compared to the right side. They got Bernhard Rainman, who's got 20 pressures allowed, which isn't terrible, but he's allowed 7 sacks. That is tied third most in the league, tying former Chief Orlando Brown, who's with Cincinnati. Quentin Nelson, a beast of a guard and a future Hall of Famer. Don't need to get into him. And they also have their center, Tanner Bortolani, who was drafted last year in the 4th round, has been playing great this year. He's up there with Creed Humphrey as one of the best centers in the NFL this season. So when it comes to the left side of the Colts offensive line, especially when it comes to run blocking, that's where you can expect Jonathan Taylor to attack. If he's going to go outside, the left side of that offensive line will come through for him more times than the right side. So expect a lot of Taylor's runs to come on the left side, because that is where they've got their best players from the offensive line. So that is the Colts offense in a nutshell. Let's switch over to the defense, coordinated by Lou Anarumo. He is the former Bengals defensive coordinator, got fired this past offseason. He and Spags both got hired in 2019. Spags was hired to be the Chiefs defensive coordinator in 2019. Same year, Anarumo was hired by the Bengals, and they were the longest tenured coordinators, defensive coordinators, I think defensive and offensive coordinators for that period of time. Now it's just Spags. This excludes special teams coordinators, obviously, because Dave Toe's been with the team the same year Andy Reid got here. He also coached with the Giants, the Dolphins, as an assistant, doing defensive back stuff. Joined the NFL in 2012 after spending many years in college football. This has been a good defense, some ups, some downs, but a lot to feel good about. Total defense 19th, rushing 5th best in the NFL, allowing 92 yards per game on the ground. As far as the passing game goes, not very good in that category, allowing more than 230 yards a game. 9th best scoring defense. Conversion rate allowed on 3rd down is 27th. On 4th down, oddly, it's way better with being 8th in that category. Red zone defense, not very good. 24th in that category. So some ups, some downs, and obviously they have one player that they will be without, and that's going to be DeForest Buckner, the middle of that defensive line there. He had 4 sacks on the season, 9 tackles for a loss, and he's on IR due to a neck injury. So they've got other guys. Adeba War, I think is how you say his last name. Stewart, also those guys, part of the defensive tackle room, filling in for DeForest Buckner, which is going to be very hard to fill in for him. Their best player on the defensive line, Laiatu Latu, the 1st round pick from last year, leads the team with 5 sacks and ties first in interceptions with 2. He had one against Tua where he was just dropping back in coverage and Tua just completely missed him. Playing better in recent games, had 2.5 sacks on Aaron Rodgers a couple of weeks ago in that game where the Colts lost. Which, by the way, to go back to that one real quickly, that was Daniel Jones, one of his worst games of the season. Statistically, it was really good because he was 31 of 50 for 341 yards. But that all came in garbage time. And yes, it was a 27-20 game. The Colts scored a lot of points in garbage time. Like, it was too little too late to get all those points. So that's why the numbers are a little inflated there. But he did throw 3 picks in that game. By far his worst game of the season. And I'm not a fan of people, because I saw that game and the reactions afterwards. People were saying, oh, the Daniel Jones from the Giants is back now. Well, nobody was saying that a couple weeks ago when they played the Falcons. So I think people, again, like we said at the start of the podcast, people are a prisoner of the moment. They always jump to conclusions whenever a player struggles or does bad. So I think people just need to relax a little bit. Everyone has a bad game here and there. So still having a really good season nonetheless. But anyway, to go back to the defense of the Colts, I mentioned Latu, Tyquan Lewis. He's got 3 sacks. He's dealing with an injury, so we don't know his status yet for this game. Their linebackers, not necessarily great. Jermaine Pratt, who followed Lou Anarumo from the Bengals. Zaire Franklin, also part of that linebacker room, not very good. Franklin was one of 3 players to get a sack against Atlanta 2 weeks ago before their bye week. The defense has been pretty good in terms of sack production, getting at least 3 or more sacks in each of the last 4 games. They've got 29 sacks on the season. That is the 7th best in the league. They've also got... Oh, I'm sorry. The Chargers also have 29 sacks, but they've played an extra game. So I think you can safely say, they've got the 7th best in terms of total sack production this year. They've also got 10 picks. That is tied for 3rd best with 4 other teams. So they're good at getting sacks. They're good at intercepting passes. They're not like the Denver Broncos defense per se, but they'll do some good things for that defense from time to time. And they got some weaknesses at the same time. No DeForest Buckner, that's going to change things. Now, they also got a really good quarterback on the day of the trade deadline in Sauce Gardner from the Jets. That was a very shocking trade. Nobody saw that one coming. And listen, Sauce Gardner, one of the best when it comes to shutting down wide receivers. So I'm very eager to see how the Chiefs manage that with their wide receiver trio. Tyquan Thornton, if he gets more playing time, you'd like to think at some point that changes. We'll see how that goes. Kenny Moore, good cover corner for them as well. A couple of forced fumbles, physical player. Mekhi Blackman got 2 picks on the season, but I would not be surprised if Patrick Mahomes picks on him. He's wearing number 29. I always like to give you guys numbers, jersey numbers of players that I think you need to watch out for. Look out for Mekhi Blackman, number 29 on the Colts defense. I think Patrick Mahomes will pick on him a lot in this game, especially if you've got guys like Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton lined up against him. Now, the deep pass needs to be better. Absolutely, it's got to be better. So we'll see if that changes in this game for the Chiefs offense. They've also got Cam Bynum, good safety for them. He's got a pair of picks on the season. And their special teams unit, which is coordinated by Brian Mason. And I know special teams coaches, they don't get a lot of consideration for head coaching jobs, but if there's one that deserves it, it certainly would be Brian Mason. Coaching college football until 2022, joined the Colts in 2023, and boy, this might be his best year. You look at Spencer Schrader, former Kansas City Chief. He kicked a walk-off field goal last year in a game. The Chiefs had 3 different kickers who made walk-off field goals. Unfortunately, like last year, Schrader hurt again, so he's been out for some time. But prior to his injury, he had made 13 of 14 field goals. Right now, that's considered the 6th best in the NFL. Michael Badgley's done a good job filling in, 7 of 8. Now, he did miss a couple of PATs not too long ago, so that is a little bit of a concern. By the way, Spencer Schrader's only miss came from 60 yards. And I don't know where Badgley's miss was specifically, but it was from 50 plus. So they've been very consistent outside of 2 PATs missed by Michael Badgley. Their punter, who we rarely hear from, it was a solid punter, but Rigoberto Sanchez, he does not qualify among other punters in the NFL for averages because he doesn't punt often. This player has punted just 19 times. That is the fewest among players who've played at least 10 or more games. You want to know who's second on that list for fewest punts? Matt Araiza. Yes. The Chiefs and the Colts are essentially going to have the 2 punters who've been punting the least this season. By the way, I mentioned Sanchez. He has 19 punts. Araiza, 26. And by the way, I'm not counting punters that have only played 4 or 5 games. Obviously, they're way lower. Actually, a couple of them are above Sanchez, which is crazy. But yeah, the Colts have punted the ball the fewest this season, which is crazy. Their kick return game, it is the best in the NFL. They're averaging 29 yards per return. That is the best. No one's done it better. Anthony Gold has been great in returning. Amir Abdullah has been doing some of that as well. He had an 81-yard return. Ashton Dulin had a 50-yard return at one point. So they've got a lot of different guys that get involved. Josh Downs also handles some punt returns as well. We'll see if Gold plays this week, but whoever they put out there on kick returns, they do a pretty damn good job. It's crazy, had an 81-yard kick return, but did not score. By the way, speaking of massive kick returns and not scoring, did you guys hear about Sky Moore or see this? Sky Moore had a 98-yard kick return, and he didn't score. The defender, he was trying to dive near the sidelines, and a defender got him just at the right time to prevent a score. Now, no problem. The 49ers, they've got a guy named Christian McCaffrey who can handle that from the one with ease, but boy, not 98 yards. It's not like it was, 9 yards deep into the end zone. This was at the 2-yard line or maybe the 1.5-yard line. I don't know. But how do you get a 98-yard kick return not from the end zone where you field it and not score, man? That is wild. I've never seen that one before, but had to point that out there. So anyway, that is the Indianapolis Colts football team in a nutshell. Yeah, where was that energy when he was with the Chiefs? I don't know. All right. So now I turn it over to you guys. What is your score prediction for this game here? Because it feels like the Chiefs should win this game. Line's at 3.5. But you're concerned with the inconsistencies. Kansas City's defense has not been good on 3rd and long this year. And they've got to be much better about it. I think Kansas City's offense can bounce back. They're playing a bad pass defense in the Colts. And by the way, there's no DeForest Buckner. So that's going to help your defense, or excuse me, your offense against Indy's defense. So I think on that front, Kansas City will have a better offensive output. Because if they don't, this is going to be a major concern. And by the way, to be clear, no DeForest Buckner. He was injured in the Steelers game, did not play in that Falcons game, but was placed on IR, I believe 4 days ago, according to ESPN. Yeah, they put him on IR November the 7th. So for some reason, this says 4 days ago. Anyway, nonetheless, he's on IR. He's not going to be available for this game. So you're not going to have that strong presence from the middle of Indy's defensive line. And your interior offensive line with Caliendo, Humphrey, Smith, they should be able to hold that there. They should be able to take care of business. Let's see. Everyone thinks it's going to be a close one here. Heidi's going 27-20. You know what's crazy? The 2 losses Indy has this year against the Steelers, and I can't remember who their other loss was against. It was a weird game where A.D. Mitchell fumbled on his way. It was the Rams. He fumbled on his way to the end zone, and that would have made a big difference in the game. But the 2 games they've lost, the score has been 27-20. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to go off and have a big game in this one. The reason James Cook had a good game is because that Kansas City defense was just not prepared, and Josh Allen was able to disguise a lot of things and kind of throw off that Chiefs defense, in my opinion. The Chiefs have been very good about stopping running backs, even the great ones. So I think they'll limit Jonathan Taylor in this game. I'm going to go Kansas City in this one. I think it's going to be close. Would not surprise me if it's going to be a score similar to what we just saw this past Sunday. I'm going 23-20 Kansas City. I do think the offense can bounce back and do some good things in this game. I think the defense will get some key stops. I think they'll limit Jonathan Taylor. I think they'll rattle Daniel Jones in this one and do some things he hasn't seen before. Hopefully the Spag special is back. Kind of surprised we didn't see that in this Denver game much, but I expect to see that. So we'll have to see how that goes. No, the Chiefs lost in week 2 to the Eagles, so they have not won all of their home games. I think that's the only home game they have not won this season. Why aren't the Chiefs bringing back Saunders? I don't know. Apparently he tried, because he kind of insinuated, hey, if only fans were the GM. He is with the Jets, though. So the Jets gave Derek Nottie back to Kansas City, so they got Colin Saunders now. So, yeah, there's that. We'll see how this goes. They've got some speed at the wide receiver position. Alex Pierce is the guy you really got to watch out for. Hopefully they can limit him, because whenever he's like Tyquan Thornton, whenever he gets the football, he gets a big play. So we'll see how that goes. I do expect the Chiefs to win 23-20 in this one here. That'll do it for this episode of the Chiefs Zone Podcast. My name is Farzin Vasugian. Hey, thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm going to sign off here. Got an early flight, so there will not be a podcast tomorrow. No Red Friday Q&A live chat either. Sunday, there will be a pregame live stream and a halftime live stream, but only from Facebook. So don't expect me to do all the live streams on all the websites. It'll just be Facebook. But the postgame podcast, that'll be normal. We won't have the ability to take calls So it'll just be me, but I'll read your guys' comments after the show. It will be on all the other social media platforms for post game. So don't worry about that. Where am I going? Paradise. I am going to put my feet in the sand and I'm going to listen. I don't share a lot of personal stuff. Nothing awful, but this has been a crazy year. It's been an exhausting year. I've actually had to push back this vacation multiple times. So trust me when I say 24 hours from now, I'm going to be having a lot of drinks. Hopefully, I don't post anything that I'll regret posting. I'll be posting. The other half of the post will probably come from the other admins. So be nice to them because, I'm not going to be monitoring things as much as I normally would. But be nice to them. Yeah, just, say hi, say what's up, chat with them. And they'll be putting some of the posts while I'm away. Nonetheless, we'll still be doing our content this week. I'm Farzin Vasugian. Thank you all for joining me. I will talk to you all later. Peace out. Take care.